Hey everyone, this is Dr. Malego, and I'm here to answer one of the biggest questions that I get from students I'm advising, and that is, should I drop this class? Most of the time I say no. There are 5 questions that I think are really important to consider when you're thinking about dropping a class. First of all, have you been attending class? If it's about a quarter of the way through the semester or the term and you haven't even shown up once, there's probably a good chance that the faculty member is not going to be too happy with you in terms of trying to help you make up the things that you've missed. The second question to think about is, if you drop this class, is it going to drop you below the number of credits you need to be a full-time student? Now, you don't have to be a full-time student necessarily, but if you're relying on being a full-time student for financial aid or for scholarships or insurance or anything like that, you want to make sure that you're aware of whether you're in full-time status or you're not in full-time status based on your institution. The third question is, can you get at least a D? You might be saying, Dr. Malego, you're not aiming very high here with a D, but D means it's your decision to retake the class later, in most cases, unless this is something that you have to have a C in or better. But if it's your decision to retake it, you can retake it in another term and you can raise your grade point average on your terms. And if you discover that retaking it would mean you have to stay in school an extra semester or an extra year to do that, maybe you just deal with a lower grade point average and take it as learning experience. As you're thinking about that decision, think about how many points are left in the class. For example, I know a lot of times in my classes, the second half of the course has a lot more points than the first half of the course. So if it's midterm and you don't have a good grade, you can still work hard the rest of the semester and probably come out with a pretty decent grade. You'll also want to make sure that you get some extra help, some tutoring, go to office hours, those kinds of things. And you also want to remember that a W will probably be on your transcripts for good once you drop that class. So if that is going to worry you to always see that there instead of a grade, then it's worth putting that effort in to try to get a passing grade. The fourth question is, if you do fail the class, will you be able to retake that class at your institution in a timely manner that will allow you to stay on track to finish your degree when you plan to? So if you fail a class and maybe it's only offered in the fall and you have to wait another whole year to retake that class at your institution, that might back you up and mean that it's going to take you longer to graduate. However, if you drop the class and you take it at, say, a community college in the summer or something like that, you might be able to get that class in a more quick manner and just transfer the credits and not necessarily the grade. So that's an important thing to consider. A lot of times if you fail a class at your institution, you might have to retake that class at your institution. You can't necessarily bring in credits later, like go take it somewhere else and like bring it in later. You might have to actually take it the exact same course again at your institution. And the fifth thing to think about is it going to impact your any financial aid or any of your scholarships that you might have? So sometimes you might have to complete a certain number of credits per year or something like that. And by dropping that class, you might drop below the number of credits you have to complete per year. On the other hand, if you get a bad grade in that class, is it going to end up putting you on academic probation, academic suspension, or compromising some aspect of your finances for college by maybe causing you to lose a scholarship or something like that? So there's a lot to take into consideration when you're thinking about whether or not you should drop a class. It's a complex issue. I always recommend that you talk with your advisor whenever you are in that type of a situation. And it's always a good idea to try to learn from your past mistakes. So can't get a DeLorean, go back to the beginning of the semester and do all the stuff that you need to do this in the class that you're in. But you can use that as a learning experience to make sure that the next class that you're in, you will finish really strongly, which will help you become a college success story. Thanks for watching.